Nissan's Duncan Foss and Henny Testerka score a maiden win in the inaugural Lesotho Sun 400. While John Ware-Smith and Jeff Millett end their 12-month winless streak by winning the special vehicle category in the Kopanong Hotel Super Team Jimco. And only 15 of the 51 starters make it to the finish of the toughest event in this year's ABSA Off-Road Championship.
The South African Off-Road Championship is proudly brought to you
The off-road car racing fraternity returned to the mountain kingdom of Lesotho for the first time since 2000 to do battle in the Lesotho Sun 400, the fifth round of the ABSA Off-Road Championship. The event was based in Maseru, which today is a bustling modern city that still retains many of the old traditions. 29 production vehicles and 28 special vehicles were entered for the event, organised by the Lesotho Off-Road Association, which annually also stages the Roof of Africa Rally for motorcycles and quads. Weather conditions were mild, but rain was forecast for Friday night, which would dramatically affect conditions in the mountains. The decision by the MSA Off-Road Car Racing Commission to return to Lesotho after a 3-year hiatus was well received, particularly by competitors who had raced in the Roof of Africa in the past. The format for the event differed from others in the championship in that it included a 4.8 kilometre time trial in addition to the 40 kilometre prologue and the 340 kilometre main event. The Kopanong Hotel Super Team was out in force and aimed to pick up at least 2 class wins and maybe overall victory in the special vehicle category. The Production Vehicle Championship has been dominated by reigning champions Hannes Grobler and Richard Leek, with Team Ford's Neil Woolridge and Ken Scholthammer handily placed in second position.
Yeah, Kenny and I are the only 2 South Africans ever to win it on a bike and a car, and I think, well, I'm certainly very proud of it. You know, it's always the pinnacle of the South African motorsports off-roading side of things. To win the Roof of Africa is very special, you know. It's a trophy that I'll always hold close to my heart, the car one and the bike one. So it's very special. The only other person to do it was Malcolm Smith, who won it on a bike and a car. So yeah, it's very special. It's also a place that's been good to me, but it's been bad to me as well. It's been an up and down place for me, Lesotho. We've had all my accidents have been in Lesotho, but all my great wins and that have also been in Lesotho. So yeah, I've come here with mixed feelings, I must say. Looking forward to it, but also a little bit nervous on one side. You know, you don't know what to expect. We haven't been here for 3 years. I think we're in for a very hard race. See, they've moved the start time forward to 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm sure that's not to make sure we're back in time for the rugby. So I think we're in for a long, hard day.
Alfie Cox and Ralph Pitchford lead Class D, but have the ever-consistent Henry Zamatin and Bodo Schwegler in the Mastercraft PlayStation Pajero only 19 points behind.
In the points, are we lying second in the championship? Our intention was right from the beginning to be consistent as opposed to fast, and it seems to be paying off, but you know, it's still halfway through the season. It's very difficult to make predictions now. Anything can happen, and the Roof is probably the most difficult of all. Even though it's called the Lesotho Sun now, it's still, to us, it's the Roof. It's the same route, just as difficult, just as tricky. It's going to be a long day.
Team Ford's development crew, Bupumzi Rubeluza and Kulili Fakalisa, remain in the Class E championship hunt.
We've heard so much about the mountains and the altitude up here and the levels that we'll be racing at and the banks and everything that goes with the risk of racing in the mountains. We've heard a lot about it. So we want to take it easy and keep away from situations like the Sun City, hopefully finishing front-wheel drive.
Nissan dominate in Class T and Class D, while Toyota has a firm grip on the Class E championship. The Special Vehicle Championship is also a closely fought affair, with Mark Corbett and Jean Moore very much in the hunt for the Class A and overall honours.
Yeah, it really is an unbelievable race, and we're very glad to be back here in Lesotho. The terrain is going to be rocky, and obviously this is the dry event compared to the last event that we won in 2000. But we're really looking forward to it. We're glad that it's dry this time because we don't have a windscreen, as you can see, so the buckies could have quite an advantage over us.
Multiple Roof of Africa winner Richard Schilling has been dogged by a series of minor technical problems and has yet to finish an event this year.
I think this car is very similar to the third race I'd won with Ashley. Second one I won with Robbie Walk, and the first one with Fred Levesque. Very similar suspension, very similar power, similar gearbox. And I think that the conditions that we're going into are going to favour the frames today, as opposed to the production vehicles. The chances of pulling off an overall win, well, I'm going with a good friend of mine, Chris Davies, the next biker, came fourth in the Roof of Africa many years ago. Yes, I think we have a good chance.
The pressure is on Class B championship leaders Audrey Roets and Dion de Kock in the global DAD entry.
Our D battle now for this event is now crucial because I'm still leading by 1 point, but Marcus is catching up and Gil is there, and the Stubbs brothers, Hamish and Alistair, is just 1 point behind me. So we're basically starting in Class B all over again. We're starting a new season as from this event. So the pressure is on us to keep the lead and extend it.
Atang Magekeneni and Bucks Carolyn have a comfortable lead, while the battle for second place has developed into a three-way fight. In a departure from tradition brought about by development in Maseru, the motor vehicles are unable to compete in the Round the Houses race, and instead a 4,8 kilometre time trial course was laid out at the Maseru racecourse. Mark Corbett and John Moore posted the fastest time in the Century Property Development's bat and gave notice that they aim to repeat their 2000 roof win. Sun City 400 winners Janelle de Villiers and Francois Jordan are 2,2 seconds slower in the proudly South African Nissan hardbody and 6,6 seconds faster than teammates Hannes Grobler and Richard Leek. Two times Roof of Africa winner Hannes Grobler was on form despite suffering from a bout of influenza. The production vehicle championship leaders could have done without this close encounter, which cost them time. Team Ford's Woolrich and Scholthammer were in a cautious frame of mind and not at all fazed by the fact that they were almost 11 seconds slower than the leaders. John Weir-Smith and Jeff Minnett have had a dismal season in the Kopanong Hotel Super Team Jimco. The winners of two events in 2003 had failed to finish an event this season and were intent on winning the Lesotho Sun 400. The Nashua Mobile team of Terence Marsh and Mike Whitehouse had got to grips with a powerful supercharged Mitsubishi V6 powered Jimco and posted a time just 1 second slower than Weir-Smith. Former production vehicle champion Duncan Voss and co-driver Henny Testeger were 7th fastest in the Class T proudly South African Nissan hardbody and almost 18 seconds adrift of the leaders, while special vehicle championship leaders Atang Magekeneni and Bucks Carolyn were a further 5,5 seconds behind in the total Jimco. Their strategy was to finish the event and amass as many points as possible, rather than to challenge for the outright win and risk a non-finish. J.G. Malon's motorcycle-powered special vehicle was ideally suited to the time trial route, and he managed to finish 9th, but did not make it through the prologue that followed. Roof of Africa veteran Nardis Alberts and Colin Hunter were in spectacular form in the Class S Rapsa Raceco and rounded out the top 10 with a time of 5 minutes 14,5 seconds, just under 29 seconds slower than the leaders. Taylor and Mark Deschelaine were the leading Class B contenders in the JRE, but had 60-year-old Ernest Corbett and son-in-law Warwick Gerson only 1 second behind in the Century Property Development's bat. 9-times winner of the roof on a motorcycle, Alfie Cox, and fellow off-road motorcyclist Ralph Pitchford were the leading Class D crew and were 9 seconds faster than arch-rivals Mark Cronje and Chris Birkin in the Castrol Toyota Hilux. 20th placed Gavin Cronje and Robin Houghton showed the rest of the Class E field a clean pair of heels and ended up 10 seconds faster and 8 places higher than teammates Zane Pierce and Henny Vosloo. The 40-kilometre prologue started in Roma and finished in Matseng, southeast of Maseru. The time trial and prologue times would be combined to determine the starting order for the main event, which comprised 2 laps of a 170-kilometre loop. De Villiers and Jordan set a blistering pace to claim the #1 starting position, just as they had done a month earlier on the Sun City 400. Krobler and Leek were second fastest in the production vehicle category and would start 1 minute and 41 seconds behind their teammates on Saturday. This most certainly doesn't qualify as a road. The notorious Elephants Pass near Matseng didn't present Vos and Tersteegen with any problems. Nissens would occupy the first 3 places on the starting grid. The Class D battle again saw Cox and Pitchford come out on top, and they would start 10th in the main event. The pair aimed to score their 4th successive Class D win and mount a strong challenge for the overall championship. BB Auto crew Arnold Duplessis and George Baker surprised everyone by qualifying second in Class D. The Petersburg base pair were almost 2 minutes slower than Cox and Pitchford and just over a minute faster than Mark Cronje and Chris Birkin, who seemed to be struggling in the Castrol Toyota Hilux 2.7i. Gavin Cronje and Robin Houghton dominated Class E to earn themselves 12th place on the grid. Cronje was almost 3 minutes faster than brother Mark and over 4 minutes faster than the Castrol Toyota teammates Zane Pierce and Henny Vosloo in the Hilux KZTE. The Durban-based crew has shown a lot of promise but only managed to finish once in 4 outings. Freybo businessmen Hugo and Jaap de Bruyn were off the pace of the Class E leaders and would have to make up nearly 6 minutes if they hoped to continue their class-winning streak. Andre Botha and Beans Heidenrich were the lone entry in Class F, with the odds not in favour of the Kopenhagen Hotel Superteam Chevy being able to get through some narrow sections of the route. A Nissan whitewash in Class T and Class D, with Toyota dominant in Class E.
Almost too good to be true. It looks like we're first, second, third, and I think fifth, with Janelle leading, and Hannes and Duncan and the Ford, and then Alfie, amazing leading D by a long way. So that's great news.
The roughest I've ever seen in my life. And, you know, when you ride a bike in Lesotho, you think it's rough until you get into a car. I mean, this bucky was bouncing everywhere and every which way there was. So rough. I think we're in for a day tomorrow, a long day, and a day of lots of casualties, I think. If you can look after the pickup, not do anything stupid, I think you'll be okay to finish. Pass, or whatever you call it, you can't get up there. Had to be towed up. You can't make those turns and the wheels just spin all over the place. And it was like that. I'm tired. Now I got to do 340 of that. I'm not sure. But we'll try. We'll try.